Hello again. So today we're going to be reviewing some very popular sleep mats. We'll review it on a 4-season usage and what you'd use, the pros and cons of each. We'll compare them all against each other. We've got a few sort of areas we're going to look at, and at the end we'll give you a bit of a conclusion of which mat we think is the best value for money. It comes from a variety of prices, from the Trekology, which is just over £38, right up to the NEMO, which is £170. So start with, got the Trekology UL80. So after that, we'll be looking at the NEMO Tensor regular wide.
And we've got the Ultralight XT Extreme from SeaToSummit.
And lastly, the Robens Fjellguard. First area we're going to look at is pricing. The Trekology comes in at £38 and a bit of pence. I will share it on the top on the screen here how much it is. For the price, you're not going to get a better mat. It's absolutely fantastic. This is something that was in my kit all season last year. I only replaced it after, like I said before, nearly getting hypothermia and using it for winter use. It's not ideal for that. For me, it's a summer pad only, but this is the comfiest pad money will buy. And like I said, at £38, it's an absolute steal. Onto the NEMO Tensor, slightly more expensive. This comes in roughly about £170. It does vary throughout the year. I paid less than that, but it is about £170. Really, really good mat for the price. Nowhere near as comfy as the Trekology, unfortunately, which when you're paying, what, 5 times the price, is a bit of an issue for me. So for now, Trekology's still winning.
Next up is the SeaToSummit Ultralight XT Extreme. It's roughly £155 currently.
And then you've got the Robens Fjellguard. This comes at just shy of £70. This is my go-to mat for winter. Its pack size is a bit bigger, as we'll discuss in a bit, but for me, absolutely great pad for the price. So based on the pricings for all of them and what you get for your price, depending on what camping you're going to do, the Trekology for me would be the best mat. It's very versatile, really, really comfortable, and at such a low price, you just can't beat it. And even for 4-season use, you could always stick a foil mat underneath it and you'll be perfectly fine. I wouldn't take it in really deep sub-zero temperatures, but for me, I'd say that's winning on price. I'd rate that a good solid 8 out of 10 for price. NEMO, I'd go with what you get, value for money. I'd say mid-range, 6 out of 10. I'd go for price. The SeaToSummit, what do you rate it, Dale?
About 4 out of 10. Its pack size is too big, in my opinion, for what you get.
And finally, Robens Fjellguard. Once again, £70. You can get it cheaper than that in the summer months, so if you're buying it, that's when I get it. Once again, value for money, I'd say very, very similar to the Trekology. I'd go about a 7 out of 10. Really, really good value for money. But once again, like Dylan just said, the pack size of it is enormous, so just be mindful of that. The Trekology sizing comes in at 191 by 57 by 10 centimetres thick, which is about 5 inches. Very good, very comfortable mat. Like I said, never let me down. It is the comfiest mat I own. The NEMO, I got the regular wide, so that comes in at 183 long by 64 wide by just 9 centimetres deep. Like I said, it's not quite as comfortable as the Trekology, but still a very comfortable pad.
Next up is the SeaToSummit. The length is 183 and the width is 55 by 10. I went for the short regular.
Mummy shaped. And finally, the Robens Fjellguard is 185 long by 55 wide by just 4 centimetres thick. Although, when you look at the width in comparison to, say, the Ultralight, I think there's a bit of fibbing coming on from one of the manufacturers or the other, because the difference between that, which is supposed to be 10 centimetres, and that which is supposed to be 4, is minimal. So once again, based on width and comfort, for me, if you're only using 3-season use, once again, the Trekology's got this. It's, like I said, the comfiest mat I've ever had. My only gripes that I've got with it is I wish to do a foil version for for 4-season use, and I wish it was slightly wider because it is quite a narrow pad. But it's very comfortable, and it actually dips towards the centre, which keeps you in the pad really well. I'd rate that as a solid 9 out of 10 for comfort. It's fantastic. Literally loses a point just because of its lack of winter use. The Tensor, like I said, isn't quite as comfortable. It is better in winter months, so it does gain a point for that. I'd say still up there in the comfort, lovely and wide pad, 7 out of 10. It's a close second for me.
SeaToSummit, when I used it in the summer, it got way too hot. I do say it's probably a 7 out of 10. It is comfort, rating is amazing. However, I wouldn't use it in the summer. I
do find with the SeaToSummit, like we're going to discuss with the Fjellguard in a minute, it does lose points for me with it being a mummy shape. It does keep the weight down slightly, but it just makes it a bit more uncomfortable to sleep on. And finally, the Robens Fjellguard. This, once again, very comfortable mat, but out of the list, I put this bottom. This is a 6 out of 10, purely because I have to take into account the comfort of carrying this thing. And even though it's not heavy, it's very big and very bulky, which means you've got a bigger pack. It's also not the easiest to inflate out of the 4. So on them reasonings, this is bottom of the pack. On to R values. So we've already discussed this a little bit and about the 4 and 3 season use of these. All of these mats are all graded at least 3 season. And once again, I think there's a bit of manufacturer line in that. The Trekology comes in at just 1.6 R value, which for me is summer and spring use only. I wouldn't take it anything close to 0. I've slept in it in beyond 0, and it is a very cool mat to sleep on. But once again, like I said, for summer use, it's good. The NEMO Tensor is 2.8 on its rating. Once again, I've slept in this on a recent camp. It got down to 8 degrees, and I was actually starting to feel the cold through it. So even though it is rated more, even though it is foil lined, I wouldn't take this past sub-zero either. I'd definitely be looking at putting a foil mat underneath.
Next up is the SeaToSummit 6.2 R value. It's graded at. I've done a sub-zero camp in it, and I didn't feel any cold other than from above.
Out of all the mats, this is the one that I would consider to be a full 4-season mat. And finally, the Fjellguard. This is my choice for winters. It's a 3.2 R value. I've had this in very cool temperatures. It's never failed me. I think with it being self-inflating, that helps a bit because it does have that foam layer with inside it. So for me, it's a good mat, just not as good as the SeaToSummit because that is going to keep you super warm all year round. So where do we rate the mats on the R value? It's as simple as it comes into higher R value, the more I'm going to rate it. So your Trekology is coming in at 4th. Rated on R value, I'll give it a 3 out of 10. 1.6 is just not enough for any mat for me. The Tensor, it's average, so 6 out of 10. It's good enough for most of the season, but once again, once you get into them winter months, you do feel the cold, and I was only in 8 degrees and I could feel it.
Next up, SeaToSummit. I'd say this is probably an 8 out of 10 for the R value, and mixed with the comfort rating as well at the same time. Nice sleep, nice night, slept pretty well. I'll probably say this is probably first.
And finally, the Fjellguard. Once again, like I said, 3.2 R value. It's warm enough for winter months. It did keep me warm, but like I said, we have to go on which has got the best R value for which is going to be the best to use. The F-Light wins. This comes a close second. On to weights. So we'll go through once again. We'll view this on whichever's the lightest. It's going to be the one that scores the best. So we'll go through the latest. Trekology comes in 750 grams. Still sub 1 kilo. Still a very light mat. The NEMO Tensor comes in at 470 grams. It is literally nothing this mat weighs. For a wide pad as well, that's absolutely fantastic. Like I said, less than half a kilo.
Right, next up, SeaToSummit. It does weigh a bit more than the Tensor at 720 grams.
And finally, the one that surprises me most, coming in at just 20 grams more than the SeaToSummit, is the Fjellguard. For a self-inflating mat, which does have foam inside, I think that is very light. All 4 mats, like I said, all come in at sub 1 kilo. The Trekology coming in at third place. It's the third heaviest mat. None of these mats are bad. I'm not going to rate any of them bad. I'm going to give them all 7+. I'm not going to rate each one individually, but every single one of them sub 1 kilo. They're all light. They're all good mats. Third place, purely just off weight. NEMO Tensor, out and out standout winner. It comes in near enough half the weight of any of the other mats. For what you get for it and the lightweight of it, the packability, brilliant mat.
Next up is SeaToSummit. I come in at second. There's not much in it, but it's a close second in my opinion.
And finally, in last place is the Robens Fjellguard. Like I said, for a mat that is got an R value of 3.2, that is foam inside, self-inflating, that'll be only 80 grams less than the SeaToSummit, is phenomenal. Pack size, as you can see, I've got them. You can see the difference in sizes. NEMO for me is going to win this purely because this is a true 3-season mat. It does have that a lot more insulation. It's like 3.2 as a 2.8, sorry, as opposed to the 1.6 from this. There isn't a great deal of difference. We don't have the stuff sack for this anymore, so it is just rolled. But you can see they're very much a similar size. This is slightly bigger, the Trekology one, width-wise, so the NEMO wins it. Trekology, however, does come a very close second. Then we've got the SeaToSummit, which comes in, which would actually, as you can see, squish down a bit more. You can put that actually in a compression sack, but the sack that comes with it is actually its own pump sack. And finally, the Fjellguard. But once again, there's not a great deal of difference in size between that and the SeaToSummit, and when you think that that is self-inflating, you can't complain. I did have an extra clip for after the bit that you've just watched where the pads were getting put down, and like I said, that was inaudible, so I'll do that now while I'm out. I'm actually filming another clip, but I thought I'd do it at the start. So results for that were the NEMO was the fastest to put down, followed by the Trekology, followed by the SeaToSummit, and followed by the Robens. For packability, the reason I've chosen that way is the NEMO is just the fastest to put down. It's really quick to put down. It has a separate stuff sack that goes in, so that just fits in really nicely. The Trekology, very similar. The only real issue I have with that is obviously you have to buy the pump sack separate, and you'd have to pack that separate, so that makes it less packable in your bag for me. The SeaToSummit, once again, has its own pump sack, but with that you have to push that back into the other side, so as you can see on the video that does take a little bit longer. And the Robens, well, that was clear to see in the video, it's a two-man job to put that down. It's very difficult to get the air out of the self-inflating mat, so for that reason that comes last. So the final results: NEMO comes in first, that won in most rounds, followed by the Trekology and the Robens, and the SeaToSummit last. But does that mean that they're the mats that I'd have? No, I wouldn't. If I was to buy again and I only could have two mats, one for summer, one for winter, I'd buy the Trekology as my summer mat, and I'd have the SeaToSummit as my winter mat. I think it gives you a good all-round comfort, gives you a decent amount of packability in the summer, as well as a decent amount of warmth in the winter. They're both easy to put down and easy to put up. They're both fairly quick, and they're both comfortable mats. So for that reason, they're the two that I'd go with. Also, I'd like to add, like I said, in the NEMO, as much as that's won a few rounds, the areas that it lacks, it really lacks. So things like comfort for me, the Trekology, which comes in a lot less, is by far the comfier mat. Also for winter usage, the SeaToSummit blows it out of the water with regards to its R value. It is a true winter pad, whereas with regards to the NEMO, I think they're lying a little bit. That mat is supposed to be a 2.8 R value, and like I said, I took it down to 8 degrees and I could feel cool through it at 8 degrees. So when I've checked how R values work, I think 2.8 should get you down to about 0, -5. You should be sort of starting to feel the cold. I was way off that. I think had I got down to even 5 degrees, I think I'd have had a really, really rough night's sleep. So for that, I just couldn't pick the NEMO. And don't get me wrong, all four of these mats I own for a reason. All four of these mats are very, very good. Just for me, the Trekology is just the comfiest mat in the world. And if the people of Trekology are listening to this, make me a winter mat. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would be thankful for that. And make us a wide mat, because those fat lads don't fit on that very well. But all that being said, like I said, stand out. If I could only have one mat, the Trekology would be it. Just the sheer comfort of it, just for me, outweighs everything. And unfortunately, it's quite a heavy mat. I think it's the heaviest of the four, but I'd take that sacrifice just for the amount of comfort you get from it. I don't know what it is that makes that mat so comfortable, but it really is. And for £33, you know, what you're going to get, you know, how can you honestly say that you can get anything better value for money? And that has to be took into account. You know, when the NEMO is coming in at literally 5 times the price, and the SeaToSummit's close to 5 times the price, and even the Robens I think is double the price, and it hugely blows them out of the water for comfort. For me, that has to win. Value for money, you can't beat it. Is there any mats that you think are better? Anything that you think could be a good challenger? I know there'll be a few people using the big Agnes Rapide that will argue that that is definitely the best mat. It's not one I've tried yet, but I hope to in the future. There's no other mats that I know that stand out. Anybody who tries bringing any of them OAX mats to me, I'm going to tell you you're a liar, because that Flux 5 I had is the worst fit. I'd have rather slept on the floor. But that being said, thanks for joining me for this one. I know it's been a bit long-winded and a bit mixed match with me losing my audio, but my mics are rubbish, as I keep saying, so hopefully I get some new ones soon, and I'll catch you in the next one.